I'm Chris Beachum, Gold Derby Managing Editor, and in all the years we've done predictions for Gold Derby, that goes back over a decade ago. I think over 60,000 people have made predictions, 10,000 this year alone. Nobody's ever been perfect. Nobody's ever gotten all 24 categories right, but that changed on Sunday night. Nick Ruhrkraut is with us. Nick?
Hello.
How did you do it? We were monitoring things all night, and I thought, basically the first place or second place contender in every category was winning. So I thought this might be the year somebody might do it. How did you do it?
I was shocked. I couldn't even sleep Oscar night. There were a few things that it had to do with, and part of it was hope. Part of it was looking at how the Academy votes. Part of it was just seeing what the odds were for the night, and I guess luck was on my side. So I love so many of the films this year, and I was shocked when I saw 24 on the Gold Derby website. I was out of 10,000 plus people. Obviously, I was happy, and I saw so many of the films, and I think that's what helped attribute my win this year.
Yeah, sometimes when I see something, I overthink it, and then I do worse. For example, in recent years, I don't keep up with as much music, so I do better on Grammys where I don't know a whole lot. I'm just going by, hunches and
Right.
what I'm hearing, rather than things where I'm really invested. Was Parasite your favorite or one of your favorite movies of the year? Did that make you want to stick with it?
Oh, it was my favorite by far. I think my favorite of maybe the past 5 to 10 years. So after the SAG win, when it had a standing ovation, that kind of gave me a little hint that maybe there was more to come. And especially during the Oscars, obviously my predictions had been made already. But the standing ovations, the uproar for Bong Joon-ho, my friends and I at the Metrograph Theater were like, this might happen tonight. So I was beyond happy. I kind of went for it. I knew he deserved it out of anybody this year. So I was really happy. After going back and forth, like you said, up to minutes before the telecast, I wasn't sure where it would go in certain categories. And there were a few, even though overall a lot of them seemed to be locks, there were a few categories that I was so iffy about.
Well, and that's what I wanted to ask you about on directing, because it did seem to be a lot for Sam Mendes. He had won the BAFTA, had won the DGA. The DGA had been right, I think, 7 years in a row. Not right, but matching up. So now Parasite and 1917 on picture were roughly 50-50 in our odds. 1917 just slightly ahead, probably because of PGA more than anything. But not a lot of people were picking Parasite for directing. Why did you hang on to that?
I rewatched 1917 a few days before, and just to me, Parasite far and away was a much better film, just overall. And I think with 1917, Roger Deakins had so much to do with it, at least what press has said and just behind the scenes features. So I kind of just went with my gut. And was really hoping for Bong Joon-ho to take the lead there. And it's hard to tell sometimes with odds and what the Academy might do. So I went all out, pulled an Uncut Gems Howie moment, and just went for it.
Now, one category, since on a couple of these, it sounded like you were as much hoping as you were predicting, the two we just discussed. But editing was a really tight race between Parasite and Ford, we feel like, and Ford won it, and you didn't go with Parasite there. Why did you resist it?
So when I saw Ford versus Ferrari, I knew it should win editing and part of sound. So that was all on me. I kind of took my shot and it won. I was so shocked when they read who won, and I kept looking at my friends going, oh my gosh, I'm still 15 for 15 or whatever number it was. I thought the editing was precise, and all of those car sequences overall, even though Parasite, there are videos on how perfect his editing is, and more so metaphorically than just making you feel emotions. But again, just went with my gut and what I loved.
Well, Marcus Dixon, who's one of our editors, and I, all of the stuff we've talked about so far, that was impressive. Very impressive. But we don't know for the life of us how you split the sound categories exactly right, because almost everybody I know felt like, I know 1917 and Ford are basically your front runners on sound, but I don't know which will win which, so I'm just going to pick one for both, and I'll take the hit on the other one if that movie doesn't win both. How did you get it right? You got Ford on sound editing and 1917 on sound mixing. The other thing about that, I don't know if you follow way back, but for decades, a lot of years, the sound editing will go to a war movie, and the sound mixing will go to something more musical or the other movie that happens to win. So you threw the darts and got it in the right order, and I don't know how you did that.
I did, and again, it was looking at the history of the Academy and how they vote, and like you said, some go to war movies, and it seems to switch from year to year, being either they split the category or it goes to the same film, and it's hard to tell. And I think just rethinking daily about what sound editing is, what sound mixing is, and what I liked more. And I think the sounds of the cars were important for sound editing. And then I knew that Ford versus Ferrari in 1917 had both won at the Guild Award. So I thought maybe there would have been a split. So I kind of went with it, and I think they both deserve it. So I wanted to split, and I got it right.
Was there any other category that we haven't talked about that you really wavered on?
Oddly enough, the live action shorts, I know Brotherhood had the lead, I think, all season. And then I just love The Neighbor's Window more. I had a connection to it. Being in New York City, I know what that's like. So that was another one I went with my gut. What were some other ones? I think those were the big ones. And then screenplay, those I kind of went back and forth on. Was really hoping for Greta Gerwig win for Little Women, but I knew the odds there, and then they both had won at the Guild, so I went with the favorites for those.
What I love about this is, considering you got 100% right, sometimes you went with your gut and what you like the best, and sometimes you went against, like you wanted Greta to win, but you went with the Guilds. I don't know how you, how you go down that curvy path and always choose the right way.
Right, and I think in most years that I predicted on my own, you get some of them wrong. It's human, it's normal. You really want things to win, but in the end they don't. And I think it was just maneuvering how the Academy thinks, what history is shown to win, and then kind of putting everything together, and it came out well.
Did you? We all kind of knew who the 4 acting winners were going to be, but was there anybody among those 4 you wish had gone somewhere else?
In terms of nominations or wins, because I have
either one, or both.
Yeah, they were pretty much locks. I really hoped for Adam Driver, especially early in the season. He was a lead. I won't say too much about my disdain for Joker. But I think also they left out a few that I would have liked: supporting actress, even just a nomination for J-Lo, and then also for Zhao Sushen, just to be nominated. And she won supporting at the Independent Spirit Awards the night before, which made me feel good. So not always lost in these locked categories this year.
Yeah, I thought it was a good foursome if we were going to have that the whole way through, kind of like 2 years ago that happened, and last year was 3 out of 4. that pretty much cemented the whole season. Renee was the only previous acting winner, and the other Brad had won for producing, but never won for acting. And then Joaquin and Laura Dern have been up several times and never won, and Laura especially so beloved in the industry. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I thought it was a good quartet. What did you think about the show itself? Was there anything about it you loved, or anything about it you hated? Winners and losers.
Say that again.
Other than winners and losers.
Gotcha. It had its ups and downs for sure. I think it started off strong. I do love Janelle Monáe, and showing the characters from some snubbed movies this year, including Us, dancers in the background. So I enjoyed the start, and I think its recent history of no quote-unquote presenter or host worked out well. Steve Martin, Chris Rock continued the show. I wasn't a fan of all the musical performances. I'm not sure where Lose Yourself came from. I think it had some sort of 10-year or whatever it is, commemoration, I guess. So things like that kind of slowed down the show, and I thought they were trying to keep it to 3 hours this year, but that didn't quite happen. The rest of the show, I enjoy the presenters. I think Maya Rudolph and Kristen Wiig, and then Will Ferrell and Julia Louis-Dreyfus did amazing comedy, kept us in the show. And then I thought the musical performances by the nominees were good. I enjoyed bringing in the foreign Elsas, even though I know some weren't as happy with that as I was.
So you watched the show with friends, is that right? Friends and family?
Right. Some friends at the Metrograph Theater, which was beyond packed the night of it. It filled up, I think, by 6:30. So we watched the red carpet, and then it was fun. Everybody was clapping and cheering for the winners and the nominees. And then they were quiet during the telecast and during the speeches. So that was kind of a perfect atmosphere to be in for the night.
The people that you knew that were there, did they know where, like you get it in the last hour and you haven't missed one yet?
I kept looking over at them, and I think I was more shocked because we had all put different answers down on our ballots. Yeah, they were excited too, I know for sure.
Yeah, it's like it can be like a no-hitter with a baseball pitcher where nobody in the dugout even wants to sit near them after a while. Like, I don't want to jinx it.
I'm sure they were fed up with me going a little crazy. But
well, you get to trumpet this for a whole year now. I mean, it might not ever happen again for you or anybody. So
yeah, now I feel the pressure for next year already. No, it's 300.
We're all going to be stealing off your ballot. Don't worry. Was there any, as we wrap up here, what was the last thing you changed? Was it on the Sunday? Was it on the Saturday?
The night before I changed Bong for director, I might have changed the live action short as well. And I think I also changed visual effects. Thinking back, my friend Sophia Simonello and I did a podcast called Oscar Wilde the day before. And she told me about the history of the Academy never awarding a Marvel film. So I was like, okay, even though I think there were more visual effects, CGI done in Avengers Endgame, I knew the name of 1917 would attract more voters than Endgame if they hadn't ever voted one in. So
if there's a Best Picture nominee in that group, they often will go with that. And there were two this year with Irishman also in visual effects. That's why I went with 19. And the fact that it won at the Visual Effects Society, even though it was a lower level supporting category, it made me kind of feel comfortable on that one. The one that I changed on Sunday, I had been adamant that I didn't think anybody liked any of the 5 songs, and that's always ripe for an upset in a category where you don't feel like people even like what's there. Because every time I would hear somebody talk about, say, the Elton John song, they'd go, yeah, it's all right. Not like an Oscar-winning song. So I had Cynthia Erivo winning, thinking it might be like last year where an acting nominee, gets their other award in songwriting. But I just felt like I looked at the editors. I'm always looking at the 11 of us, and I just said 10 of them were going in Elton John. I just thought I would rather miss with all of them than miss it by myself, and it's like a double hit because I missed it and they all got it right. So I made that change on Sunday, so that was a good change for me.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I wish Cynthia would have EGOT'd for sure, but I knew just with the rest of the season, it's gone to Elton, I think, almost at every show. And with, yeah.
He's definitely the most popular of the group and the one that people have listened to essentially all their lives. So I knew why people were picking him. I thought it might be right for an upset, and I'm glad I changed my mind about 2 hours before the show. But I only got 19 right, so I don't have much to say in your company.
That's how it usually goes. It's usually less than you would hope for, somewhere around the 20 mark. Yeah.
Well, I did go up from the past 2 years, and so you should feel good about yourself when you go up. But considering I was still like middle of the pack, everybody had this in like 20 and above this year. So, well, Nick, thank you so much. We wanted to meet you after seeing how you scored that perfect number on Sunday night, and good luck the rest of the way. We want you predicting all of our events. We do like 50 events over the course of the year. And I want to remind everybody else, over the next 10 days, you can vote in our Gold Derby Decade Awards. We've got every Oscar nominee and every Gold Derby Award nominee listed on the ballot, 22 categories, and you can vote for whatever your favorites are for all of those categories all the way up through February 21st. So I'm interested to see what you mark down on that as well.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to get right over there and choose. I saw all the options and it was overwhelming at first.
Well, I did the first. I didn't have time with Oscars to do too many. I did the first 6, I think, and look, there's 60 or 70 contenders in a category, and I was looking at some of them going, I have no way to narrow this down. It's too many people that I like.
Right. So we'll see. Yeah.
Well, congratulations, and thank you so much. And everybody get in there and make your Razzie predictions and your vote for the Gold Derby Decade Awards. Thanks, Nick.
You're welcome. Thank you.